Dear Thalian, your YouTube psychic. Card of the day. Readings. Unboxings. Your daily source for things arcane.
And welcome again to today's video. I am Thalian, your YouTube psychic, and welcome to another installment of Jack the Ripper. This is the fourth installment of the suspects. So, if you are triggered by things such as murder, death, decay, serial killer, things of that nature, you may want to skip this video, but if not, please enjoy. Thomas Hayne Cutbush, a disturbed and violent youth, became clinically insane at the time of the Ripper murders in 1888 and was believed to be wandering the streets of London throughout the time of the killings. While suffering delusions thought to have been caused by syphilis, Cutbush was sent to Lambeth Infirmary in 1891. During his stay at Lambeth, Cutbush was prone to rants, including outbursts, where he threatened to rip staff open with a knife. After stabbing a woman in the buttocks and attempting to stab a second, he was pronounced insane and committed to Broadmoor Hospital in 1891, where he remained until he died in 1903. In a series of articles published in 1894, The Sun newspaper, it was suggested that Cutbush was Jack the Ripper. There has been no evidence indicating that police took the idea seriously, and Melville Macnaghten's memorandum naming the three police suspects, Druitt, Kosminski, and Ostrog, were written to refute the idea that Cutbush was the Ripper. Cutbush's suspicion was advanced in the 1993 book Jack the Myth by A.P. Wolfe, who suggested that Macnaghten wrote his memorandum to protect a fellow police officer, who so happened to be Cutbush's uncle. And at this time, there is no picture of Cutbush, so that's why we have this random generic picture of a rendering of what Jack the Ripper would look like. The following suspects are popular theories proposed by later authors and Ripperologists. These suspects, these are the ones who historically may or may not have zero to do with Jack the Ripper, but these are the top most proposed by authors. With his own track record as one of America's most devious and prolific serial killers, some think that H. Holmes may have committed the Whitechapel murders as well. Holmes often made money by selling human skeletons to medical schools, skeletons that are now suspected of being his many victims. There are some who point to evidence that Holmes was in London attempting to sell these bones during the fall of 1888, based on his high volume of kills and possible jaunt to London during the season of the Ripper. Some followers of the case deduce that Holmes could be Saucy Jack himself. Holmes became famous for his, quote, murder castle, end quote, in Chicago, a sprawling construction that served as a dual hotel and human slaughterhouse during the 1893 World's Fair. The, quote, castle, end quote, was a labyrinth of soundproof rooms, secret passageway, gas chambers, acid baths, and incinerators, of which only Holmes knew the exact floor plan. Charming and handsome as he was, Holmes would entice young women traveling alone for the fair to stay at his hotel, where he would later torture and kill them, often dissolving their bodies in acid or disposing of them in lime pits. Holmes was eventually convicted for the murder of his assistant, Joseph Pitzel, and the murders of 3 of Pitzel's children. After his conviction, Holmes wrote a long confessional that he sold to the Hearst Company for $7,500. The tome was published in newspapers all over the country. The sensationalist story of Holmes's life is inconsistent, first claiming innocence, then demonic possession, and then has him running numerous scams and heists under false identities and murdering countless people. Some of these claims were proven to be true, while others may or may not have been the fictional result of a sociopathic bravado. Holmes was executed by hanging in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on May 7, 1896. Girl, talk about a no-tell motel. Knowing my luck, if I was around at this time, I'd have ended up one of those people staying in his hotel. Alright, so let's move on to our next suspect. Joseph Barnett was a prime witness questioned by police after the grisly murder of Mary Jane Kelly. He and Kelly had been lovers since April of 1887, but had recently separated after an argument about Kelly's allowing other prostitutes to stay in the couple's apartment at night. Barnett had recently taken up residence in Bishopsgate after moving out of the Miller's Court home, where Kelly's mutilated body was found on November 9, 1888. Barnett worked as a fish porter out on the docks. His license as a fish porter, however, was taken away in July 1888. He and Kelly had been living together since they began seeing one another the year before, but were constantly struggling with money and moving from place to place. Even though Barnett had moved out of Miller's Court, the two were seen talking after the separation and appeared to be on good terms before Kelly's body was discovered. After being interviewed for 4 hours by Detective Aberline himself, Barnett was ruled out as a suspect. He was reintroduced as a possible Ripper suspect in the 1970s by author Bruce Paley. The theory put forward is that after Barnett lost his job, Mary Jane Kelly began to support herself via prostitution again, and Barnett began to kill neighborhood prostitutes to try to scare her off the streets. 3 different books, Jack the Ripper, The Mystery Solved, 1991 by Paul Harrison, The Return of Jack the Ripper, 1977 by Mark Andrews, and Jack the Ripper, The Simple Truth, 1995 by Bruce Paley, name Barnett as the perpetrator. As you can see, it's very difficult to discern who was actually the Ripper. We have several more suspects to go, so do make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and click the bell so you're notified when I upload a video. This week, we're going to, after we're done with these guys, we're going to move on to the next series of guys, and I plan to have the Ripper series wrapped up by the end of next week. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to my content and like this video. Want more? Feel free to order your own personal reading at www.tirthalion.com. That's TIRTHALION.com. Don't forget to click the bell icon so that you're notified every time I upload a video.